I believe there are three good arguments for us to use curiosity as a way to motivate students to learn. The first of that is that of those internal motivations we have to learn, and there are many, autonomy, mastery, self-efficacy, etc., curiosity is the only one tied directly to knowledge. And this we can get from the common definition of curiosity used by many cognitive psychologists. It's the drive humans have to seek knowledge. And the same definition offers the second reason I think we should focus on curiosity, and that is that it's very strong. This is the reasons I like to start this talk with those two questions to prove to you that it can be quite strong. I mean, if it weren't strong, many of you would have already forgotten the fact that I still have not provided you the answer to those two questions. I haven't forgotten that. But of course, many of you have not forgotten about that. It's like an itch that you need to scratch, right? And in this, it is the reason why many psychologists consider it a drive. It's like thirst or hunger. It's pretty strong when it's activated correctly. But perhaps the most important argument in favor of using curiosity to motivate our students' learning is that it is pleasurable. And to be honest, this is one of the reasons I became interested in curiosity. When my daughter Mara was younger, I began noticing how much she enjoyed the process of discovering how the world around her worked. She had a natural affinity to seek answers, which, as it turns out, is the origin of the word curiosity from the Greek to seek. In fact, I also noticed it in my dog, who's also quite enjoyed the process of seeking. Later on, I discovered animal research that also consider this seeking behavior quite a threshold of activity in animals, such as dogs. But as compelling as these arguments are in favor of teaching using curiosity, its benefits would be irrelevant if we didn't have a way to harvest it, to influence it with our teaching strategies with some kind of predictability. And for a long time, cognitive psychologists were not able to provide such an operational structure of curiosity. That is until 1994 when a behavioral economist called George Lowenstein published a paper titled The Psychology of Curiosity. And in that paper, he provided a new framework of curiosity using ideas not only from previous cognitive psychologists, but also from Gestalt psychologists, as well as obviously behavioral economists. He focused his definition of curiosity in mental attention, and he called it information gap theory. It's the one I use today to create the activities I did at the beginning of the talk. The definition of information gap theory of curiosity is very straightforward. We become curious when our attention focuses on the information we need to fill subjective gaps in our knowledge. Yet as straightforward as it sounds, its implications are pretty profound, since it finally provides a practical way, a recipe, so to speak, to impact curiosity. Not surprisingly, information gap theory has been used extensively in many practical disciplines such as business and marketing. And this is the reason I believe we should now begin to use it in teaching. So let me take a few minutes to explain it, and since it's so closely related to mental attention, I will try to explain it first using a simple Gestalt experiment, which was also used by Lowenstein in his paper. Consider the red space here represents the information you have about something. Say, what is curiosity? Notice that your attention goes directly to this most red space. That is where your eyes will go. Yes, you cannot avoid the white, but the white space is more like background noise. So under information gap theory, you will not be very curious since your attention is actually focused on the very little information you have. In other words, at this point, you're overwhelmed with all the information you don't have, the white space. But say I change the image by slowly filling the space with red. At some point in that process, the focus of your attention will shift from red to white. And you can call that the essence of the genesis of your curiosity. And by the time I leave a tiny gap of white space, you are very, very curious. All right, so that's information gap theory from a mental perspective. Now, from mental attention perspective. But curiosity is also a cognitive process, so hence we need a more cognitive example to understand the idea behind it. So suppose I ask you the following question. Does it make you curious? Well, obviously not. I mean, it may generate other emotional feelings in you, but definitely not curiosity. And why not? Well, according to information gap theory, it's because it doesn't make you curious because there's no information gap. Now, how about this question? Again, this question probably generates very little curiosity in you, but now it's for a different reason. The information gap is too large for you to pay attention to it. You have no idea who is the president of Mongolia. But what about this? Consider this. What if I remove 3 choices? Does that increase your curiosity about the answer? I bet some of you are now really wondering who is the president of Mongolia. If you're one of these people, then I have manipulated your curiosity by using the information gap theory, by essentially reducing your information gap and focusing your mental attention to the little information you need to complete the red space. Pretty cool, right? So here's what I propose. I propose we use information gap theory to make our students more curious. And here are 5 strategies I use at the beginning of this talk in order to achieve that.